As a filmmaker, you use a lot of tools, but have you ever considered using the one that's probably already in your pocket? Can I say that? That's right, I'm talking about your cell phone. And today we're going to be talking about the top 5 apps you should be using as a filmmaker. Now I'm going to be going over the 5 apps that I use the most, and the first one is actually an honorable mention, and it didn't make the list entirely because it's extremely useful, but I don't use it all that often, just from time to time. And that is the Langara Film Slate. It has different sections for the important information that you'd expect to see, like the production name, director, the DP, frame rate, scene, roll, all that stuff. And when you're ready for a take, you can even take your finger, slide it down on the slate, and it will give you a clap. All the other ones that I've used are a little too fancy. They try to do a little too much, and yeah, this one's simple, so I thought I'd just mention it. Now, there's no doubt in my mind you've heard of this next one, especially if you have aperture lights, and that is the Sidus Link app. Now, before you skip ahead in the video, you can actually use this app for a couple of useful things, even if you don't have aperture lights. So if you don't, then definitely stick around. So this is an app I use literally every single time I'm shooting, and I'm actually using it right now to record this video, just to control all my lights and things. But in addition to that, you can also use it for lighting diagrams. And I'll show you just real quick one of the little demo ones that they have in the app. So you can add cars, stairs, different shapes if you want. You can also obviously add lighting equipment. Oh, that's the wrong one. You can add your lighting gear, and this is all specifically like aperture name brand stuff. But that doesn't mean you have to actually use like aperture gear, obviously. And you can also add your diffusion, any other cutters, bounces, reflectors, all the things. Now there's a lot of nitty gritty stuff you can do with this app that I won't go over in this video, but typically what I like to do is after I set the scene, so we'll say this one here, I like to make it full screen, take a screenshot, and then you can save that wherever your heart desires. If you do have aperture or Amaran lights, obviously you know you can control it through this app, but one other really small thing that you can do that I find helpful from time to time is this illumination handbook. So if you're trying to figure out the output based on a certain distance, this will give you all that information. And I find this helpful because Aperture and Amaran's website don't really do that in a way that makes any sense at all. So this is a helpful tool to try to figure out if the light that you're using is going to be bright enough or not, depending on what you're shooting. The next app on this list is one that I slept on for a very long time, and you definitely should not, and that is the Blackmagic Cam app. Now I'm going to do a little screen recording so you can actually see what's going on in the back of my phone, but look at this. Look at this. How cool is this? You have your shutter speed. You can change your approximate focal length depending on what your phone has, your frame rate, white balance, tint, ISO. It even has a level, or stabilization, cinematic or extreme. It's really, really useful. Now, like I said, I use this a lot for location scouting. So if I'm on set with the director, we're walking through the storyboard, trying to figure out where we want talent, what camera's going to be doing. It's really nice to give them just a quick little visual of what everything will look like in the scene, at least the framing of the shot. So it's a tool to make your pre-production life that much easier, just like this next app. Coming in at number 3 on this list, we have Google Gemini, which is Google's AI model, just like ChatGPT or one of the many others that are out there now. So far, or at least as of right now, I'm using it for one very specific reason, and that is for writing scripts. Now, if you haven't seen the Nike spec ad that I shot, then I'll put the link down in the description below. But that was scripted entirely with Google Gemini. And honestly, I was pretty shocked on how freaking phenomenal. It was phenomenal. The results, they were so good. I will be making a video in the future on how I generated that script and the exact prompt that I used. So if you're interested in that, definitely subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that one, as well as a couple other AI videos that I have planned. That brings us to numero dos, which is Milanote, specifically the iPad version. I talked about Milanote in my top 5 website video, and if you haven't seen that one, I'll link that one down below as well, and I'll talk about it a little more there. But personally, I use Milanote as my hub for anything and everything production, from pre-production to post-production. It's where all the information is for an entire shoot or an entire project. And if you check out the top 5 websites video, I do talk about Milanote a little more in there. But if you want a specific video about Milanote and how I use it as my hub, let me know down in the comments below and I'll definitely make that for you guys. But wait a minute, why did I say the iPad version and not the phone version? Because it's not that great. It takes all of your information that you have in their software and puts it into one single mobile friendly line. and it jumbles everything up. It's just not. Now, last and definitely not least is my personal favorite app for filmmaking, and that is Sunseeker. Now, Sunseeker is an app that tells you where the sun's going to be either today, or it can even tell you where it's going to be in the future, even like 2-3 months from now. This is one of those tools that deserves its own video because of how valuable it is and how many times it's saved me in the past. So I'll just kind of quickly brush over my favorite feature in this app, and we'll talk about some more detailed stuff later. And that is the 3D view. Now, what this does is it opens up the camera on your phone, and it shows you in real time in augmented reality where the sun is in relation to you, and also where it was about 2 months ago in the past and then 2 months into the future. Now, this is valuable because if you're shooting outside, for example, and say it's September, but you're not shooting until November, you're looking around and it's like, okay, the sun is here, it's 5 p.m., we're gonna be shooting at 6 p.m. Once the shoot day comes, and I think we're gonna put talent here because the sun will be behind them, so on and so forth. So say you're renting gear, you're getting talent ready, you're telling them where to be, you're coordinating with multiple people, you show up on location, you're like, okay, the sun should be here, but it's not, it moved quite significantly. And that's because the sun isn't as high in the winter as it is in the summer. So knowing exactly where the sun's gonna be, especially if you're using it for your scene, instead of scrambling once you get on set because it's definitely not where you thought it was, will save you a lot of headache and a little bit of embarrassment too. Now, like I said, there are a lot of ways to use this app. This is simply just one of those. And I'm pretty sure in doing this, I've convinced myself that it deserves its own video. So once that comes out, I will put the link down in the description. Not sure what an ETA is on that, but it will be coming. And tell me down in the comments what apps you guys are using for filmmaking. Which ones did I miss that definitely should have been on this list, or some that I should be using personally for my projects? Let's talk about everything down below. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and check out one of the other 2 videos I have over here. And I'll see you guys over there.